Howdy ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Happy Day. Today's episode is a special one. We have a birthday. July 3rd was TK's 6th birthday, his 5th with me. But before that, we got a short message for you. Hey all, just a quick mention here. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment on the videos you like. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, which helps me. Takes 2 seconds. So thanks in advance. Alrighty. So it's TK's birthday, or it was 6 days ago. He turned 6. Now, the story of TK. To tell the story of TK, I got to go back to furball. So I moved back to Alberta in 2018, and furball was already, he was at the end of his life, and I knew it. And so he passed away. I got him one morning and he was in a lot of pain, and I was driving him to the vet, and he passed away next to me going to the vet. So Rascal and furball, they were bonded. Completely bonded. I got furball is 6 months old. I had him for a year because of his feline herpes syndrome when the vets gave me the okay to get another cat. So then I got Rascal as a 6-month-year-old. And Rascal and TK, furball. TK reminds me of furball so much. Furball, they bonded instantly. Like, they were inseparable. Like, usually you get a new cat, you put it in a cat room, they get introduced. No, these two, they were like this instantly. And for the next 13 and a half years, that's what it was. It was furball and Rascal. And then furball passed away, and Rascal didn't take it well. So I knew I had to get Rascal a companion. And I wasn't really sure what I should get. Should I get a young cat? Should I get an old cat? So I went to the SPCA, Humane Society, no longer called the SPCA for some reason. And anyway, I went to the Humane Society and I asked them, and they said, older cats are very accepting of young cats. Okay, great. So I got Motor at 6 months old. And Motor, he wanted to be Rascal's best friend. Rascal, he wasn't ready for that. He wasn't aggressive to Motor. He wasn't abusive to Motor. And they did get along. Like, I saw Rascal cleaning him a couple of times and everything. But Motor wanted to play in Rascal. He was already, 14 years old at this point. He's like, no, I'm too old for this. And, so he really wasn't into it, much to Motor's chagrin, because Motor he was a kid and he wanted to play. I really believe losing furball is what ultimately caused Motor to pass away, or get sick anyway, because he got sick. He was almost 15 years old, and he got sick, and he's like, this was about 6 months after I got Motor, and I took him to the vet because he was losing weight and he wasn't looking good. And I took him in, and he had developed stomach cancer. And they said, at his age, and it was probably best to put him down. So I agreed. Killed me because I love that cat, but I put him down, and so I'm left with this at this point 1-year-old kitten. Or 1.5. Yeah, 1.5, about there. The dates sort of meshed together. And so I got this kitten, and COVID hits. Okay. I'm like, well, I got to get a companion for Motor because he wants to play and he's a very social animal. Like Motor is super social, unless you're a mouse. And so I went to the PetSmart because the Humane Society was shut down for COVID. And I went to PetSmart and I couldn't interact with them because the rules for COVID was you could look through the cages, like the glass, they were in a enclosed glass cage, but you couldn't interact with them. So I watched TK, and he was 1 year old when I got him. And I watched him, and he was in this cage by himself, and he was playing and everything. So he had some energy to him. And it didn't even occur to me to ask why he was in a cage by himself, but in the cage next door, there was two cats together. It didn't even occur to me to ask, and they weren't offering up anything. So I said, okay, I'm going to take TK. And they had some horrible name. As I've said before, I hate human names for animals. I detest it. So he had a human name. That wasn't going to fly. So I picked him up, and he was super chill with me right off the bat. Like, I went into the room. Once I had adopted him, they let me go pick him up out of the cage and put him into my carry case, and he was super chill. There was no fight. There was no argument. He just let me pick him up, put him in the cage, close it up, and off we went. So we got home. Well, Motor was super curious because, like I said, Motor is a very social cat, and he wanted somebody to be social with, somebody to play with, somebody, and he walked up and he gently puts his paw out to TK and just so softly touches TK, and TK curls into this ball, and he just starts screeching at the top of his lungs, shaking, quivering in terror. Well, the rescue, and I'm so tired of rescues not giving me the whole story. This is how I got Furball, is they did not tell me he had feline herpes syndrome. I took him home, and I noticed, there's this black shit coming out of his eyes and everything. And I took him to the vet, and the vet told me. And then the vet tells me, oh, they knew. We've looked at this cat before. They knew because it was the vet right next to the PetSmart that I got Furball from. So it's like, I'm so tired of rescues hiding things. So it turns out TK was deathly afraid of cats. And that's why he was in his own container, separated. Like, we're talking severe anxiety terror of cats. And Motor, as soon as he started screeching, Motor backed off, and you could see Motor looking at me going, what's going on? And like I say, Motor's a very intelligent cat, and he's very social. And I literally just said to him, yes, I do talk to my cats. I just said, give him space. And Motor just did that. He gave him space. He gave him all the space in the world. Thank God it was Motor. Any other cat, I don't think, wouldn't have had the patience, except for maybe Furball. But yeah, Motor just backed off, and he gave him space. And, every once a week he'd go up and he'd try to interact with TK, and TK would curl into a ball. It took 3 months. 3 months for TK to finally get over his fear of cats, or at least get over his fear of Motor. And I still remember it clear as day. One day I'm sitting in the living room, and Motor's on the floor, and TK comes walking out from behind the sofa, and he gently reaches out and he touches Motor. And Motor turns around like, what the hell's going on here? What, did you just touch me? And TK's like, you could tell he was so unsure of what he was doing, but he wanted to play, is what TK loves, to play. And he had finally broken down and said, I want to play. And after that, they were like two peas in a pod. They do zoomies every bloody night and drive me absolutely insane because they sound like a herd of elephants. But so TK got over his fear of cats with Motor, but it took 3 months. Like there was some deep psychological terror going on in his mind. I would love to know what happened in his first year of life. What I assume is he was a street cat. And this rescue, because the PetSmart, they host 3 or 4 different rescues. And each rescue puts in 2 to 3 cats. And, we don't allow, in Canada, we don't allow puppy mills and cat mills anymore. So this is how PetSmart handled it in Canada, is they started donating space to rescues to get animals adopted. And so my opinion on this is TK was a street cat as a kitten, and he got abused by other cats, and then he got rescued, and he never got over that mistrust of cats. That's my running opinion. I have no proof of this. That's just what I think. So these two are bonded, and they are having a ball together, and it was so good to see, because, you know, I got TK as a companion cat for Motor. And for 3 months, Motor had no companion other than me. So this was great. How TK got his name. Like I say, I hate human names for cats. I despise it. I will not do it. I just refuse. You know, like Rascal's original name was Randy. No. Furball's original name was Bonaparte. How the hell did they ever come up with that? No. I forget what Motor's was. I renamed him Motor. And TK, how I came up with his name is I like to try to find names that suit the personality of the cat. So I'm watching TK. I'm like, well, and I noticed when I played with him, with the feather and everywhere, the whatever, some cats, they jump. They like Faf. He jumps. You'll get him jumping 6 feet high after a feather. Like he's very energetic. TK, he goes flat to the belly to the ground, and he stalks. He's a stalker. He's not a leaper. He's not a runner. He's a stalker. So I'm like, okay, stalk. No, that doesn't really roll off the tongue. Stalker? No. And it just on and on and on until I shortened it down to TK, and that's how I came up with TK for him. And to his credit, the minute I said TK, he was like, yep, that's my name. And he responded to it instantly. So we just ran from there. And yeah, he's been an absolute joy. Now, every cat has their own distinct personality. And, you know, you got Motor. Motor is an absolute suck and social cat. Like, when I'm on the sofa watching TV, he's in my lap, purring away. That's his spot. TK's less assertive. So during the day when I'm up and about, he's never more than 4 feet away from me. He just follows me around. But he's not on me. He's not pawing at me. He's not looking for attention. He just needs to be by me. But when I go to bed, that's his spot. It doesn't matter if I sleep on my left shoulder, he will literally lay across this arm, pinning the arm to the bed. And he'll push up against my chest, and he'll lay his head on my pillow, and that's where he sleeps. He's pinned me down, and this is how he sleeps. Once I fall asleep, he'll get up and he'll move to the foot of the bed or over to the other dresser. But if I get up during the night for something, drink of water, go for washroom break, whatever, when I come back to bed, same routine. He's up against me, pinning my arm down, head on pillow. That's his routine. That's what makes him happy. So, you know, like I say, every cat has their own personality. It's like Motor is a bona fide mouser. Faf is a bona fide mouser. TK, he's not a mouser. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He doesn't have an aggressive bone in his body. When I've had 2 mice in my house over the years, and he just wanted to play with the mice. He didn't want to hurt them. He just wanted to play. That's his thing. He wants to play. Unfortunately for the mice, Motor and Faf, they're not so kind-hearted when it comes to rodents. Not at all. So neither of the mice lasted too long with Motor and Faf around. But with TK, he just wanted to play. He was curious. What is this? What is this little creature? And that's really the story of TK. Is he is just a giant love bug. Now, it's funny for TK. Here's the funniest thing is TK is very fluffy. He's a long-haired ginger cat, orange cat, but he's got long hair, and it's like very fluffy long hair. Motor is long haired, but it's very coarse and sticks to the body. And then Faf is domestic short hair. So if you saw all three of the cats together, you think TK is the heaviest cat because of the way his hair comes out. He's actually the lightest of my three cats. TK is 15 pounds. Motor is 21 pounds. And Faf is 17 pounds. But Faf is domestic short hair, and he is all muscle. Like, he's starting to get a little bit of a belly after, I guess it's been, probably 7 or 8 months now in my home. So he's starting to get a little bit of a belly, but he's still very athletic and just sleek and muscular. So he's 17 pounds, but he looks like he's the smallest of the three because with his domestic short hair, he's compacted, Whereas Motor's 21 pounds, and you go to lift him up, he is 21 pounds. Motor is the reason I cannot free feed these guys. I have to give them a very strict feeding schedule because if I just load up the bowl, Motor will eat it all. And then he'd be 25 pounds. And I don't want that. So, no, TK is 15 pounds. It's just he looks massive because of his hair. He's the smallest of the three. So every time somebody comes over, they're like, oh, he's a huge cat. No, he's not really. And I explain it and they're like, wow. So, yeah. So that's a story of TK. Like some cats have these big, long, expansive stories. Well, Faf does. Other cats, they just want to be a house cat. And TK wants to be a house cat. He loves Motor. He loves Faf now. Him and Faf play. Motor doesn't play as much as he used to. Motor's 7 years old, turning 8. So he doesn't play as much as he used to. And Faf is 4. So Faf has replaced Motor for the zoomies at night. And TK and Faf, they go to town. Once I'm asleep, like I'll wake up during the night and just lay in bed and I can hear them just herd of elephants, zoom, 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 jump, jump, crash, bang, and then Faf will come in and curl up by my feet and TK will come in and check if I'm asleep. And if he thinks I'm asleep, he'll go over to the other side of the foot of the bed or the dresser and curl up there. And yeah, that's his world and he is super content at it. The other thing about TK is he's gone outside twice. Now, he didn't go outside trying to escape. He went outside because I was outside. Actually, it was 3 times. Sorry, 3 times. Each door. I have 3 doors in my townhouse, and he's gone out each one once. So the main door, he ran out, and it's a concrete thoroughway. And he ran out, and he got about 6 feet out, and I'm standing there. I'm like, what are you doing? And he looks at me. I go, what are you doing? And he sort of cocks his head. I open the door. He runs back in. Done. That's all it took. Like I said, he wasn't trying to run away. I was outside washing windows. He wanted to be outside with me. The back door into my yard, same thing. And this is when I had grass. I opened the door and he raced out because he wanted to be outside with me. So he races out in my yard. His paws hit the grass. He stops it, and his belly drops to the ground. Floof. And he crawls to the fence, and he stops, and he looks at me. I'm like, what are you doing, idiot? And he races back inside, and that was it. You know, nature was not his thing. And then in the basement, I was fixing my basement door, and I had to open it up because I had to do the screws, and he snuck out, and I didn't see him sneak out. And he snuck out and he got under my vehicle. Okay, and I didn't notice this, so I didn't know he was out there. So he's only about 3 feet away from me. I just didn't notice. So I finished fixing the door, and I close the door, lock it, and I take 2 steps, and suddenly I hear at the door. I'm like, what the hell? I'm looking around, and it's like, the hell's TK? And I hear scratch, 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 scratch. No. So I open the door. And as soon as I open the door, he runs back in. And he's never tried to go outside again. I could leave my doors wide open and he won't go outside. He is a house cat. And he is 1,000% committed to being a house cat. It's his world. He's safe. He's fed. He's happy. He's loved. And that's all he wants. Unfortunately, I can't leave my doors open because Faf would run out. I'll be building a catio either later this year or early next year for Faf because he wants to be outside. So I'm going to build him a catio so that he can jump through the front window and go into the catio and, you know, get his sunshine and everything without me worrying about him running through the neighborhood because he took off earlier this year and he gave me a damn heart attack. So yeah, anyway, happy birthday to TK. It is his 6th birthday. Hopefully many, many, many more. So anyway, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel. A like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders. Always feel free to leave a comment. Please leave a comment. Wish him a happy birthday. I'll read it to him. I promise. Not only does it get us interacting when you leave a comment, but it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.